Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So first off, I just want to apologise for the lack of content recently. I've actually been fortunate enough to get away twice on holiday over the past few weeks, so that's why the channel's been a little bit quiet. But now I'm back, and today I want to do a short video and a dive into a topic that always sparks debate and a question that I've been asked twice over the past few weeks, and that is a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu match really a fight? So first off, let's start with the dictionary definition of what a fight is. And that is a violent confrontation between two or more people or animals, or a contest in which people use physical force to try to defeat one another. Now, by that definition alone, I think we can all agree that BJJ matches do fit that bill. You're in a contest, you're using physical force, and you're trying to overcome another human being who's also trying to do the exact same thing to you. Now, some people hate it when they hear someone say, I've got a fight this weekend, when what they mean is they're in a BJJ competition. And they'll jump in and correct them and say, that's not a fight, it's just a match. Now, personally, I don't really have a problem with people calling it a fight. To me, it kind of is one, but I do think context matters. I've also seen people really big up the idea of jiu-jitsu being a fight, almost like they're trying to make it much more dramatic than it actually is. And again, I don't mind the term being used personally, but you need to know the context. Now, BJJ is a fight within a very specific framework, not the same as MMA and not the same as a street fight. And if you think about it, in a BJJ match, you're facing another human being who's actually trying to impose their will on you. You're using your body, your strength, technique, your mind, all in real time, trying to survive, trying to control, and hopefully submit your opponent. And they're trying to do the exact same thing to you. That is a struggle. And to me, a struggle like that is a fight. Now, I understand there's not punches involved, there's not kicks involved, but not all fights involve punches and kicks. Wrestling can be a fight, judo can be a fight, boxing is a fight. Jiu-jitsu is a fight. They're just different forms of combat, each with their own set of rules. And that's another point. People will say BJJ isn't a fight because it has rules. But if we're being honest about it, MMA's got rules as well. And it's got a lot of rules. No eye gouging, no biting, no groin strikes, no small joint manipulation, no headbutts. Guys can put one hand on the ground, if they're bending over, so that effectively is a grounded opponent, so then there's no knees to the head, things like that. So there's all sorts of rules in MMA that make it not a real fight. It's a regulated sport, just like BJJ is, albeit, a little bit more realistic. I think we can all agree MMA is as close as you'll get in competition to a real fight. So if MMA qualifies as fighting, then surely BJJ can qualify as fighting too. It's the same principle. Human beings testing each other physically and mentally in a combat setting under rules that make it safer, but no less real. Now, let me put it this way. I know from my own experience that when I've stepped into a grappling competition, the adrenaline dump is real. It hits you hard. You can be training 5 or 6 days a week and feel totally fine. But the second you step into those competition environments, onto the mats with a referee, a crowd, and an opponent who's trying to beat you, then your body goes into fight mode. Your legs feel heavy, your mouth dries out, your grips will fade faster than they do in training. And it is, by all accounts, a fight response. Now, I've had matches where the intensity has absolutely made it feel like a fight. At the Euros, maybe 3 or 4 years ago at brown belt, I had an opponent who twice grabbed my head like a, double collar tie, almost like a tie plum. And he ragged me around so hard that he nearly tore my ear right off. I had to go off the mat and get it stitched up like butterfly stitches. It was pure aggression, it was physical, and it felt more than just a match. Another time at black belt level, I faced a coral belt in a competition. Again at the Euros, and this guy also had a Muay Thai background, and his collar ties were so sharp, like boom, they almost felt like punches, like really solid, strikes almost to the neck. And his foot sweeps, they weren't really like a judo foot sweep, it was more like a a calf kick being thrown heavily at my calf, and they felt like real kicks. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that those moments were anywhere near the intensity of an MMA fight or an actual fight. You know, the violence was not quite as extreme. But for all intents and purposes, it was physical, and it did feel, at the time, almost like a fight, albeit without the strikes and the punches and the kicks in the knees, etc. But they were intense matches, and in those moments, they just feel like fights. And again, I'm not comparing a jiu-jitsu match to an MMA fight by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying sometimes the level of intensity in competition can feel like a real fight. Now, I've spoken to friends and training partners who've competed in both BJJ and MMA, and I've asked them how they feel in each environment, and their answers are fascinating. You know, some of them say that the adrenaline dump feels about the same. Once you're out there, it's you versus another human being, and your body reacts in the same way. Others said that MMA is far more intense because the risks are higher and the threat of strikes makes it feel much more dangerous. But I've also heard people say the opposite, that they feel more comfortable in an MMA match because they've got more tools and ranges of combat at their disposal. You know, in BJJ, if you're stuck under pressure, you can't strike your way out. You know, you can't kick your way free. You're trapped in that single range of combat. And that, for some people, makes BJJ feel just as overwhelming, if not more so, than MMA. So why does this debate even exist? I think a lot of it comes down to language. The word fight just triggers something in people. They picture punches being thrown, blood, chaos, broken teeth. Maybe they think about street fights. So when they hear someone say that they're fighting in a grappling match, it doesn't match their definition. They feel like the word is being used in the wrong context. But language evolves, and in combat sports, fight has always been used quite loosely. Boxers fight, wrestlers fight, MMA fighters fight, and in my opinion, jiu-jitsu practitioners fight as well. So here's where I stand. A BJJ match is a fight. It's not the same type of fight as MMA, and it's not the same type of fight as you'd see on the streets, but it's still a fight. Now, it's a controlled, regulated, highly technical fight, but at the core, it's two people struggling against each other to win. And that, to me, is the essence of fighting. But I want to hear from you. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you see jiu-jitsu as a fight, or do you think it should only be called a match or a roll? Then this is one of those topics where there isn't really a right or wrong answer. You know, I think it was Tom DeBlas talking about it, saying BJJ is never fighting. And I'm never going to, you know, disrespect anything Tom DeBlas saying. I think he's a great guy, and he obviously knows what he's talking about. But we just have different opinions on things. He doesn't see it as a fight. I beg to differ. I think you could call it a fight. But, you know, that guy's been around. He's done it all. So I'm not going to argue with Tom DeBlas. But that's just my opinion, whether that's right or wrong. But, you know, the conversation itself is what makes it interesting. So drop your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Just before I go, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know how much I emphasize the importance of breathing in BJJ. I talk about it a lot in most of the videos I do. And I've even done a few videos that are dedicated purely to breathing. Now, breathing can make the difference between panicking under pressure and staying composed. And it's one of the most underrated skills in jiu-jitsu. Now, my friend Glyn Powditch has been a big influence on me in this particular area. I've known Glyn for around about 20 years now. He's a 3rd degree Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt, fantastic coach, great training partner, and just a good friend. Now, Glyn's knowledge is absolutely next level, and he's just released a brand new course on BJJ Fanatics called Breathe to Win. Now, right now, BJJ Fanatics actually have a sale on, so you can pick it up at a great price. But if you miss it, they always have sales on, so I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up at a great price anyway. But even if you have to pay full price for it, it's definitely worth picking up, because to me, it is one of the most important areas, if not the most important area of practicing jiu-jitsu. And if you want to develop your breathing for performance, for composure under pressure, then this video course is definitely worth checking out, and I'll leave a link down below for that. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, apologies for not being around for the last few weeks, but hopefully I'm going to get a consistent schedule now where I can put video content out pretty regularly. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.